There's a tendency in this industry to go out and get flight instructors for manned aviation to come and teach this stuff. They can teach the airspace and the weather all day long, but a lot of these guys have never put their hands on a drone. So ask these questions. Have you done a lot of drone training? Do you understand this? What's your background? Things like that. Will they provide you with any kind of documentation at the end? One of the big issues with self-certifying your operators under a COA is that the department says, like, well, what do I know about self-certifying my operators? So how do I know if they've gotten good training or not? Yeah. Whoever is doing your training should give you some kind of certificate so that at least you have it documented. We did this training, the training included these 20 subjects, and everybody got through it and was there in attendance. Ask them what their course consists of. I'm not going to stand up here and tell you that our course is the best course. It's a course, and it's really good, but there are lots of great training providers out there. Just make sure that you're asking the right questions before you pick one. Specifically, if you're operating under a COA, that's one thing that you want to make sure that your training provider knows about. So there are specific requirements of COAs. There's some reporting requirements and things like that, and understanding how to apply them is really important, so make sure that they can explain that to you as well. And do they offer recurrent training or any kind of recommendations for a training schedule going forward? The next thing that you have to think about once you get that training is what's your protocol going to be for recertifying people, making them current? Are you going to have currency requirements? So a lot of departments will say you have to do 3 flights within 90 days or 60 days or 30 days. They don't all have to be missions, obviously, but they could be training. What's going to make sense for you guys is going to be different depending on where you are and what your department does. So you're starting to think about what kind of training requirements am I going to have, what kind of currency, how much recurrent training are we going to do, are we going to bring somebody in to do recurrent training, things like that. Good training should include all of these topics. Part 107 actually only requires you Part 107 actually requires you to do airspace, weather, and emergency procedures. Those are the only 3 things that are basically included in the Part 107 test in any other way. And there's a couple of things specific to the rule of Part 107. But to actually fly a drone safely in the national airspace, these are all the different things that you need to know about.